Okay, so now this tour that we took of the animal cell, we're going to start to break down each of those components and make sure that we understand what they're doing. Okay? So besides having the animal cell for eukaryotes, we also have the plant cell. So we have all of those features that we just talked about, but then we have some additional organelles like chloroplasts, and we have vacuoles. So the plant cell is going to have those basic components, just going to have a couple of additional components because its job is different than an animal cell. Its job is to capture energy from the sun and to turn it into carbon sugars that animals can consume. So they have to have this specialized organelle to be able to accomplish that. Okay? Let's take a look at those components of the animal cell. All right. This is kind of a theme. Our nucleus in a eukaryotic cell has the DNA, the nuclear envelope with the nuclear pores. So right in the center of our cell, we find that nucleus. And that is anatomically correct. You know how everything was kind of moving around in there and it was just like all over the place? I never imagined that either when I studied biology because we didn't have these kind of graphics, right? So I never imagined that fluidity and that movement. But that nucleus still does kind of stay in the center. I wonder about that sometimes. Why doesn't it move around? Anyway, I don't know for sure, but I can almost guarantee it's probably anchored in there with the cytoskeleton. I should look that up for you. Okay, so this nucleus, if we take a look at it through a micrograph, we can see that we have nuclear pores that come out of it. We have DNA inside of it. But that we still have this nuclear envelope that's going around and the pores and the DNA, and that's what makes the nucleus, okay? So the nuclear envelope is the double membrane. And those pores, receptors, and transport proteins in the nuclear envelope control the movement of molecules in and out of the nucleus. Okay? So same concept that we're talking about when we're talking about the plasma membrane. There's proteins in there that are controlling how things are moving around, controlling the transport. Well, the same thing's happening in the nucleus. Now onto that endomembrane system that we just heard about. It's a series of interacting organelles between the nucleus and the plasma membrane. So where is it then? Where is the endomembrane system located if it's between the nucleus and the plasma membrane? It's in that thing we call the cytoplasm, right? That's the area between there, and that endomembrane system is in that area. Okay, it functions to make lipids, enzymes, other proteins. It breaks down toxins and recycles waste. So it's like the factory, right? All the work's getting done there in that endomembrane system. So here we orient ourselves to this nucleus, and we can see that coming out of there, we have something that's called the ER, not the place you go when you get hurt, but the endoplasmic reticulum, or the ER. Okay, it's a continuous system of sacs and tubes. It's an extension of the nuclear envelope. In other words, those pores can butt up right against it. The rough ER, which we see here with little dots, has what on it? Ribosomes, right? We just saw that in the video. Rough ER is studied with ribosomes, and ribosomes make proteins, and proteins are mega important. They are the signals and the receptors. They're like the communicators of our cells, okay? And the smooth ER has no ribosomes. Now, don't now fixate that ribosomes are on the ER, because ribosomes are everywhere. There is a lot of messages to be sent. There is a lot of proteins to be made. Those are the messages. And they're everywhere, ribosomes, okay? But some happen to be on the ER. All right? Let's take a look at that right but we won't get to see animation about it. Okay, so in that endomembrane system, We also have vesicles. We learned about that in the movie we just watched. Those are small membrane enclosed sac-like organelles. Think about sacs. Think about a bouncy ball. On the outside is the skin of the ball, on the inside is air. In this case, the outside of the vesicle is the membrane, and the inside are the messages. Proteins. Enzymes. And it stores and transports and degrades its contents, okay? So it has many functions. The vacuole, it's kind of like a vesicle too, if you think about it in terms of its shape. It's a fluid-filled organelle that isolates or disposes wastes, debris, or toxic material. Like a sequestering organelle. And then, like we heard about in the video, we also have the lysosome. This is just a vesicle with enzymes inside of it for intracellular digestion, so within the cell. So you all know that interstates go between states. So when you drive on an interstate freeway, it's a freeway that goes between states. But an intrastate freeway is one that only goes in California. Well, if you're in California. Okay, but an interstate goes across states. So in this case, our vesicle for our lysome has to do with digestion inside of this cell. It doesn't go out to other cells to do digestion work. And the example that we saw earlier was an old mitochondria that was just worn out, and so the lysosomes degraded it. Okay? And what did they do with it? They recycled it. All right, another type of vesicle that's enzyme-filled is a peroxisome. This one happens to break down amino acids, fatty acids, and toxic substances. So lysosome and peroxisomes. And another organelle that we have is the Golgi body. So we saw in the video that messages are sent out of the nucleus. We're going to learn about how this is all done in later weeks. But for a simplified idea of how things flow through the cell or flow through the endomembrane system, there's messages coming out of the nucleus that are made off of the DNA. They're called messenger RNA. They come out into this endomembrane system. They come out into this ER, and they hook up with ribosomes. Ribosomes read those messages and generate proteins. Okay? Those proteins continue to move through the system until they fuse off in vesicles. They move then to this Golgi body for final modification before they go on their mission. Okay, so the Golgi body is the organelle that modifies the polypeptides and the lipids, modifies those proteins, it sorts and packages the finished products into the transport vesicles to send them off on their intended mission. All right. Let's see if we can do a review here of the endomembrane system.